Have you ever noticed that the biggest enemies in the power universe are rarely strangers? They are usually family. And if that's true, then Season 5 of Raising Kanan could be the most dangerous chapter yet. For years, Raq has fought rival crews, survived betrayals, and built an empire from the ground up. But now, the threat standing in front of her isn't a rival kingpin or a street enemy. It's her own son, the same son she tried to protect, the same son she tried to control, the same son she lied to again and again. Kanan has spent years living under Raq's shadow, but what happens when that shadow finally disappears? What happens when the student stops following the teacher? Season 5 may finally answer that question, and the answer could destroy the Thomas family forever. The war between Kanan and Raq did not begin overnight. In fact, the seeds of this conflict were planted years ago. Every secret Raq kept, every decision she made behind Kanan's back, and every lie she told helped create the person Kanan is becoming. At the beginning of the series, Kanan looked at his mother as if she could do no wrong. He trusted her. He believed she always had the right answer. Even when other people questioned her actions, Kanan often stood by her side. He saw her as a survivor, a leader, and someone who always knew how to stay one step ahead. But as time passed, that image started to crack. The more Kanan learned about the truth, the more he realized that Raq had been controlling nearly every part of his life. Many of the choices he thought were his own had actually been influenced by her. She believed she was protecting him. She believed she was preparing him for the future. But from Kanan's point of view, it looked very different. Instead of seeing protection, he saw manipulation. Instead of seeing honesty, he saw deception. Every new secret pushed him further away from the woman he once trusted more than anyone else. One of the most interesting parts of Raising Kanan is watching how Kanan slowly changes from a teenager looking for guidance into someone who wants power for himself. At first, he needed Raq. He depended on her experience and her connections. Without her, he would have struggled to survive in such a dangerous world. But now things are changing. Kanan has spent years learning how the streets work. He has watched people rise and fall. He has seen what happens when leaders make mistakes. Most importantly, he has learned from Raq herself. Whether she realizes it or not, she has been teaching him how to become a boss. That is exactly why Season 5 feels so important. For the first time, Kanan may no longer see himself as a soldier in Raq's organization. He may see himself as someone who deserves his own seat at the table. That kind of thinking changes everything. A loyal soldier follows orders. A future kingpin creates his own. And once someone starts believing they should be in charge, it becomes almost impossible to make them accept being controlled again. Raq's biggest strength has always been her ability to stay in control. No matter how bad things became, she usually found a way to move the pieces on the board. She controlled the business, she controlled information, she controlled the people around her, but Kanan is becoming the one person she may not be able to control anymore. That possibility should terrify her. Not because Kanan is stronger than her right now, but because he understands how she thinks. He has spent years watching her methods. He knows how she reacts under pressure. He knows how she manipulates situations to get what she wants. In many ways, Kanan is becoming a reflection of Raq herself, and that may be the real tragedy of the Thomas family. Raq spent years building her empire and shaping Kanan's future. She wanted him to be strong. She wanted him to survive. She wanted him to become powerful. But what if she succeeded too well? What if all those lessons created someone who no longer wants to follow her? What if the person she prepared to inherit the kingdom decides he would rather take it for himself? If that happens, then Season 5 won't just be about family conflict. It will be about a mother facing the consequences of her own actions. And when that battle finally begins, the entire Thomas family could be caught in the middle. There comes a moment in every crime story when the student stops asking for permission. That moment may have finally arrived for Kanan. For years, he lived in a world where every important decision seemed to pass through Raq first. She controlled the business, controlled the money, controlled the plans, and often controlled the truth. Kanan grew up believing that this was normal. He thought power looked exactly like Raq. He thought survival meant following the rules she created. But the older he became, the more he started to see things differently. Instead of viewing Raq as the answer to every problem, he began viewing her as one of the biggest obstacles standing in his way. What makes Kanan's journey so interesting is that he did not change all at once. His transformation happened slowly. Every betrayal added another layer to his frustration. Every secret made him question what else had been hidden from him. Every time he discovered another lie, a little more trust disappeared. Trust is one of the hardest things to rebuild once it is broken. In the beginning, Kanan always found a reason to forgive Raq. He convinced himself that she was doing what she thought was best. But after years of deception, excuses no longer felt enough. At some point, a person stops asking why they were lied to and starts asking whether they can ever trust the liar again. Season 5 could explore the consequences of that broken trust more than ever before. Kanan is no longer the young kid trying to prove himself. He has already seen the reality of the streets. He has experienced loss. He has experienced disappointment. He has learned that loyalty can disappear overnight. Most importantly, he has learned that power belongs to the people willing to take risks. Those lessons have changed him. The version of Kanan entering Season 5 is much more dangerous than the version viewers met at the start of the series. One reason Kanan has become so dangerous is because he has started thinking for himself. Earlier in the story, he often relied on guidance from the people around him. He looked for approval. He wanted reassurance that he was making the right move. But now he appears more confident in his own judgment. Confidence can be a powerful weapon. When someone stops looking for permission, they become harder to control. They stop worrying about whether others agree with their decisions. They start focusing only on what they believe is necessary. That shift creates a major problem for Raq. Her influence over Kanan was built on the idea that he needed her. As long as he depended on her knowledge and protection, she maintained an advantage. But what happens when he no longer feels that dependence? What happens when he believes he can survive on his own? Suddenly, the balance of power begins to change. The relationship between mother and son becomes something entirely different. It stops being about guidance and starts becoming about competition. The scary part for Raq is that Kanan has spent years studying her without even realizing it. Every conversation, every strategy, every move she made became part of his education. He learned how to read people. He learned how to recognize weakness. He learned how to stay calm during chaos. Those are the same qualities that helped Raq build her empire. Now those qualities are beginning to appear in Kanan. The student is slowly becoming a version of the teacher. There is also another factor that could push Kanan further away from Raq: pride. Pride often creates some of the biggest conflicts in the power universe. Once someone believes they deserve respect, they become less willing to accept being treated like a subordinate. Kanan may reach a point where he feels he has earned the right to make his own decisions. If that happens, every disagreement with Raq becomes more serious. What starts as a simple argument can quickly become a battle over authority. Neither side wants to back down because backing down feels like weakness. The tragedy is that Raq may not fully realize how much Kanan has changed until it is too late. She still sees her son, but she may fail to see the future kingpin growing right in front of her. She may believe she can still guide him back onto the path she wants. She may believe she can still influence his choices the way she always has. But people eventually outgrow the roles others create for them. Kanan is reaching that stage now. He wants more than a place inside Raq's empire. He wants control over his own destiny. If Season 5 follows this path, viewers could witness the final stage of Kanan's transformation. Not the transformation from boy to man, but from follower to leader. That change would affect every relationship around him. Friends would be forced to choose sides. Family members would be caught in the middle. Old loyalties would be tested. And the closer Kanan moves toward independence, the more likely a direct collision with Raq becomes. Because in a world built on power, there is often room for only one person at the top. And for the first time, Kanan may believe that person should be him. Raq has always been one of the smartest and most feared players in the game. Long before anyone questioned her authority, she built an empire in a world where weakness was punished and mistakes could cost lives. She survived situations that would have destroyed most people. She outsmarted rivals, handled threats from every direction, and kept her business moving even when everything around her was falling apart. Because of that success, Raq developed a habit that eventually became both her greatest strength and her greatest weakness. She became convinced that she always knew what was best for everyone around her.